This is the Ordinary Business Podcast for business owners who want honest conversations, a lean business, and an extraordinary life on their own terms. Parijat, what is something you wish you could automate? Like if we had like ultimate automation capabilities.
Laundry. And I don't mean just moving it from the washer to the dryer. I mean from taking it from the hamper to all the way through washer, through dryer, knowing how to hang, which ones need to be air dried, and then putting it all away.
So we just need like a laundry elf.
Yes. That is what we need.
Magically comes in and does it. I love it. I love it so much. So we are talking today about a little bit about like automations and stuff, but really through the lens of how you've set up and kind of run your business as you are also caring for a medically complex child. And so thank you for being willing to share. Before we dive in, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Parijat, and I'm the founder of Ruvel, which is a company that's dedicated to improving high-risk pregnancy outcomes and reducing the risk of preterm birth by filling the gaps left by the medical and mental health field. And I started it because of personal experience. I never would have known that this work was needed unless I had been through all of it, from infertility, losses, high-risk pregnancy, very extremely preterm delivery, and then life afterwards. So that's how I'm here today.
Beautiful, beautiful work. So important. Thank you for doing what you do. What does caring for a medically complex child look like practically day to day? And how has this kind of shaped how you approach your business?
Yeah, it's changed over the years. So when he was teeny tiny, he and I were on lockdown before I started this business. And so when he started kind of emerging into the world when he was almost 3, I slowly started the work, but it was very much around how can I start this business and run this business while still needing to be extremely available. So, we have tons of doctor's appointments, tons of therapies, both appointments and then the therapies we have to do at home. And while that part of it, at least the appointment part, has become less intense over the years, the reality is, we still are living in a global pandemic, and it's a virus that could make him go right back to the hospital, be back on a ventilator. And so we have to make decisions then about life and thus my work in a way that keeps all of us as safe as possible, which requires a lot of sacrifice. And so what I have found is the more I can automate, the less I have to do, so that I can be there only for the things that I really need to be there for. But, and I think that's how I came across automation so early, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just starting this business. I can't hire people, and I would love to hire people, but I can't even pay myself. What's happening? And I can't remember who introduced me to it, but just this concept of automation, I was like, machines can do this? I don't have to do that. Like, you could take part of my brain and do it. This is fantastic. And so I think that's part of why I think we're talking today, is because it was really I was drawn to it because of the very real limitations and restrictions that we had. And while those specific ones have changed over the years, we still live very similarly in a lot of ways. And it's just kind of a non-negotiable, because, his health, our health, is more important than anything.
And you said the appointments are fewer, less frequent, which is good.
Yeah.
But what does it look like day to day, your schedule? Are you still having to do a lot of really specific care for him, in terms of medicines or treatments? Are you having to spend more time in the mornings or evenings, getting him ready?
So every day we've still got therapies. Every day, maybe multiple times a week, we've got either appointments or check-ins or some kind of tracking of either symptoms or progress or something like that. And then there's a lot of morning and evening just kind of transition support, getting ready for school, and then winding down back into kind of day-to-day life and then managing. He's much older now, and so there's managing schedules and different classes. So we've got a good mix, I think, of like regular parenting stuff and then mixing that in with how do we make decisions, like what classes can he take, what activities can he do based on the time of year, the health status that he has at that point, and his interests, obviously. So there's a lot of his input now, which is great in terms of like, okay, we're transitioning from school into dinner prep. Like, what would be most helpful, and what do you need, or what do you want to eat for dinner? Like a lot of those kinds of things. And then a lot of his input about how he's feeling in his body and how that determines how the rest of the day goes.
Now, again, we talking about automations, and I love me some automations. But for you, with everything going on personally, I know like the automations are a huge help. Do you remember what the first thing you automated was? And
I
like
totally do.
how much of a difference it made? Like tell us about it.
So I'll be honest, I didn't trust it at first.
I
So,
mean,
like,
I think that's
really.
reasonable.
So I didn't test it on the business first. I tested on my husband first.
Oh.
So my husband is allergic to everything, like every grass, every tree, everything, just anything that's outside, he's allergic to it. So I discovered this automation at the very beginning, many like years ago, where it would automatically text him if it was like a certain amount of like wind speed, or it was like the humidity was gonna drop, or a certain temperature was going to go below or something like that. It would text him to be like, take your allergy medication today.
This is genius.
I thought it was the greatest thing.
Okay, I'm literally going to have to write this down for myself. I'm allergic to a few types of grass. So now I'm like, oh, I could automate when the grass is
Yes.
higher, and then I would know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have homework. You're teaching me already. I love this. I love this. I'm curious if you have any others, specifically like as a parent, that you've really enjoyed, or maybe if it's not relating to your son, but just other ones in the household that help you as a family, and what problem is it solving? How's it helping?
Yeah, I meal plan a lot. I just find it easier with all of our health needs and everything, and all the shopping and stuff. And so I created an automation where I have all the main types of foods and dishes that we typically eat in Airtable. And then I automate it so that if I select it for the week or for the specific day when I'm planning, it'll show up on our calendar. And I just got like a family hub calendar thing that shows everything for everyone. So the kids will always be able to see it and go, this is what we're having today, instead of having to ask me 15 times all day. I'm loving that one because I just see one list. I just have to look at one list and go, what do I feel like for Wednesday? And then click that, and then it just pops up and everybody sees it. And that's been awesome.
Is this Airtable available for purchase? Because I was on Threads just a week or two, and there were people talking about like wanting to automate their meal planning more and wanting like an Airtable situation.
No way.
Yes.
Oh.
I'll have to I'll send you the conversation. Because I feel like, I don't know if it's relevant if you feel like putting it out there, but you could definitely have a few takers. I'm just saying. Are you tired of reinventing the wheel every time a client books you? Diana Wei Fong builds simple, repeatable systems for creative business owners who want to work smarter, not harder. You can check out The Finer Points at thefinerpoints.co. You talked about the Family Hub. Is that going to like a skylight calendar?
No, but I just got the app for it. So I put it on an iPad just to see, like, is it going to work? Will people use it? So we're still in the testing phase of that display specifically.
Yeah.
But the app is great. It's doing exactly what I needed to. It's amazing.
Okay. Genius. And very simple. Since we're talking about calendars and stuff, I know obviously with caring for a medically complex child, and you've talked about all the appointments and therapies and stuff, you really have to protect your energy and your time. What does that look like in practice?
I mean, I truly find the hardest part now at this age for it's the mental load and the constant decision making. That's much harder than the therapies and the appointments that, even though we had more of them when he was younger, it's the decision making that is exhausting. Like if I stop and think about where is my energy just like being sucked out of me, it is that. Everything from the medical stuff through school, through business, life, all of it. And so my boundaries are, for example, like my day is bookended. So I start my day early. I'm a morning person. I like to get up early. I like to get things done early. And my phone is off at 8 p.m. I'm like, you cannot reach me after 8, which too much to my friend's chagrin sometimes when that's the only time they have to get back to me. So I'll check in once in a while now, but for the most part, that's usually my time, 8 or 8:30, depending on the week. Consistent bedtime, really like a non-negotiable working out every single day. And I find that like if I can consolidate my day into those few hours, I have the energy for that. And then outside of those hours, whether we're getting together with friends or family or we're just out and doing something, I have to plan that out ahead of time so that I can see how much planning is going to be needed. So if like Saturday is going to be really busy, then I'm very careful about what we do on a Sunday. And that's got to be a low key day. And that's both for myself, but also for the kids who need that downtime and that transition and back into school the next day. So I find like doing it that way helps a ton for me. Then I know, okay, shop's closed at 8. I'm done. I'm off.
Okay, so does this mean you use like a real alarm clock since your phone is off?
No. I just wake up. I mean, yeah, I just wake up on my own. It's like internal alarm clock goes off at 6:15 and I'm just up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, my internal alarm clock is pretty strong, but it's not that consistent.
Yeah, it's wild.
It ebbs and flows a little bit. Do you have any guardrails, boundaries in business that help you from like going over your work capacity?
Absolutely, especially when I was doing more client work. That was like the first thing that I set up around that. So with one-to-one clients, it's like only specific days I offer Voxer support. Outside of those days, I don't respond. Emails, we have autoresponders up both for my personal email and our work email saying we'll get back to you within 3 days. Like nothing that we do, even though we work in kind of that health world, we don't provide emergency support. So there's nothing that is an emergency and if it is an emergency, we're not the people to help you. And then now that we've switched more towards kind of the B2B side, there really, really is no emergency. Like you really can wait. And we will get back to you in the time that we need to process and to go at the pace that we need to. When I was working more with the one-to-one side, there were times within the day I'll get back to you over email or over Voxer once I learned what Voxer was. I will get back to you within those hours, and that's it. And I will not get back to you outside of that. We book things, typically like events, speaking engagements, at least a quarter out. If somebody offers something, like unless it's a very large sum of money, which I've yet to see, it's, if it's a very last minute request, the answer is no, because I don't have the flexibility in my business or my life to be able to turn something around that quickly and show up at the level and with the quality of care that I would like to show up with. So yeah, I think for me personally, getting to a place of being comfortable saying no a lot really changed the game very early on.
Yes. I really think this also speaks to how much you are honoring your own capacity and schedule, because it's easy for us to say like, no, I only respond in these times. Like I'll be honest, I'm totally guilty of like I only respond and then not often, but yes, I sometimes I'm like, okay, here I'm responding, but I don't even have the email on my phone. It's like it's my own fault that I'm checking my inbox at 8 p.m.
Exactly.
Why am I doing that to myself? I don't know. But I just really appreciate how much you honor your own boundaries and capacity and saying no, especially like those last minute speaking gigs, because I also know so many people who would be like, ooh, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
Within reason. But that was something else I wanted to talk about, because when we were talking about you coming on the podcast and you're like, I have no desire to be famous. No, I don't want to go viral. Like many of us, we're like, no, thank you. I'm just here to like do good work. But you do want your work to be well known, because it is really important. And so I'm curious how you've built your visibility without getting caught up in like, oh, I'm trying to go viral and be famous.
Not well. Let's start there. You hear everywhere, you got to be online, you got to be visible, they've got to see you. And sure, I'm not a marketer, but yes, I get the point. If your people can't find you, you're not going to get people. I get that. But I for a long time, I built my business, and pretty successfully, on Instagram. And I was not honest with myself. For all the honesty we have just talked about, this did not happen. I was not honest with myself about how much I despised being on social media. Because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And, I'm a good student, and I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do my work, I'm going to get it done. And oh my God, it was so hard, and I did not like it. But I thought that's what you have to do. So I did it, and it worked. That's the other thing. It was working for a long time. And so it felt like, okay, fine, it's worth it. I'll keep doing it. And then somewhere along the way, I think it all kind of came to a head where the algorithms changed, or whatever happened to Instagram. It no longer functions the way that it used to.
Right.
Around the time that we in the United States started seeing a lot of issues with challenging reproductive care and access to reproductive care. At the same time that I was just like burning out. And so it all kind of came together, and it forced me to ask myself, okay, if it's not working and you have to pivot anyway, what are you going to do about this? And I still resisted it, like this is not some epiphany that suddenly then opened up a grand door that's suddenly now working. I have to fight that urge regularly, because when you're online, and when you see it working for others, you're like, oh, I should do that. I could do that. But then I stop and think about the amount of energy it would take for me to show up that way. And I'd rather burn my business down. Like, I don't want to do it. On the flip side, though, around that same time, I surveyed our audience, not online, but our list. And we went, okay, how did you find us? And so far, the last time I looked, I think 99% of people said podcasts. And I went, wait a minute. That's something I could do all day long, and it would not deplete me. Making a 3-second reel, I might die. But this, I could do all day long. Fascinating. And so therein kind of went the pivot. That's where it just locked in for me. And I went, I'm going to do the thing that energizes me, that I love to do, and that clearly seems to be working anyway. And that's where all my energy is going. And so I think I officially pulled off of Instagram. I mean, I have my accounts and stuff, but I don't post anything. I think as of earlier this year, I finally went, okay, I'm going all in on this, and we'll see how it goes.
We have to focus on finding the right thing. Not what is quote unquote the best thing for everybody else. Like, what is best for me, and not for, because I'm complete opposite of you. I mean, obviously I enjoy podcasts. Otherwise I would be here.
Right.
But I really enjoy Instagram. I'm weird like that. I don't know. So I think it's just like we each have to find what truly energizes us. And I tell people all the time that I find, like, if you are not enjoying a particular type of marketing, a particular platform, it's going to show up in the way that you show up there.
Yes.
Again, not that we're going to be like, Jess looks like she hates Instagram and like, wow, she needs to like stop. But it's just, you're not going to have as much fun. You're not going to be as engaged in creating the videos.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found podcasts. The last question I wanted to ask is for the listeners, if they either currently or maybe in the future, or if they have a friend, but like if they have a medically complex child and they're starting a business, what advice would you give to them?
I think I would say be careful about not losing yourself in either,
Mm,
because as a parent of a medically complex child who will be that parent for the rest of my life, it's all consuming. It is entirely a full-time job. And you're starting your business, whether it's related to that experience or completely not, you're probably starting that business because it's somehow tied in. Maybe you need the flexibility. Maybe you need to, solve a problem that you've seen in that world or something else. That won't fill the gap either for what you as a person need. And maybe another way to say this is keep connected with who you are as an individual so that you can best pour into your child or children and your business and still preserve who you are. That is certainly something that I wish I had learned much earlier in the journey. And so I hope that that's helpful to somebody that's starting out.
that is really good advice. Thank you for sharing that. And again, thank you for sharing your insight and a little bit of your story. Where can we connect with you online? Not on Instagram, but where can we just learn more about what you do and all that?
The best place is through the website, ruvel.com. And from there, you can see our articles. You can see everything that we have to offer. And it's a contact form is probably the best place. And there's a lengthy press page with samples of other podcasts that I've been on as well.
Awesome. I will link that in the show notes. But thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.